SuperTalkStudio.com. And today we get to talk about summer camp, but maybe not the kind that you're thinking of as you gear up for finding what to do with your kids this summer. You may be exploring summer camp options, but then you also may be searching for support for your children when it comes to their mental health. So we're going to bridge the two today with an exciting new camp here in Mississippi called Camp SEK. We've got the founder, Dr. Alyssa Killebrew, with us today in studio, along with camp director, Sarah Sellers. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
I think this is a great idea as mental health and all awareness arises. It's finding those ways for those vulnerable ages, which is sort of the teens, and how to marry all of that sort of together. So, Dr. Killebrew, this is your brainchild. So give us a little bit of the background how Camp SEK came about.
Well, so my husband was a farmer, and we lost him a couple of years ago, but we founded the camp to take our favorite things all into account. So I am a clinical psychologist. He was a farmer, and we also were both Christians. So those are the three basic principles behind SEK. We teach Christianity, we teach mental health techniques, and then we also teach about Mississippi agriculture, like farm to table and row crop farming and things like that. So it's taking all my favorite things and putting them in one camp.
So Sarah, as camp director, how did you get connected with Camp SEK?
Well, first of all, Dr. Killebrew is also my aunt, so we have that connection. But I was that child at, about 12. That's when I started having mental health issues, and I needed tools from the beginning. So I started doing counseling. I went to my own type of camp that taught me tools, got me outside. We did experientials, and then, I ended up doing a lot more therapy, and I'm in such a better place now because of those tools I learned when I was so young. And so adolescents are just my heart. I just think that if we can teach tools at a very early age, new perspectives about agriculture, new insights of Christianity, that we can, probably send them off in a way healthier path.
Well, it's able to better cope with, I guess, the realities of their daily life now, from social media to, I know it's state testing for a lot of kids this week that adds the pressure to just, everything else compounded. And sometimes, they do end up spiraling just like adults when we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do with our hands, right? You don't know what to do with the thoughts. You don't know what to do with sort of the, the feelings. And so having those tools to me sounds like a good thing. So explain the camp. 1 week, couple days, how does that work?
So we have lots of adult therapeutic intensives in the United States. One is called On-Site, and it's in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's actually a place that I attended as an adult after I lost my spouse. And so I wanted to bring this to Mississippi so we have a place to send children. Because trauma, I've been a psychologist now for a long time, and when I'm sitting in front of a patient who's an adult, usually their trauma started as a child, and there wasn't someone there that could help them with that trauma, so they picked up an ineffective behavior like drinking or using a drug or some kind of ineffective behavior that leads to mental illness. And so I think this is just such a special need in our area, and we need to be dealing with trauma at a young age. And so this camp is really specific to those kids who have had trauma, divorce, grief, loss. Those kids that are being bullied. We're just tickled to death to have a resource now, and I couldn't find one, and so I just decided we'll create it.
So, Sarah, as we are approaching to summer, is camp open? What are the weeks, the slots?
Yes.
How does the age, because I know it's not real young. Y'all kept it more towards the end of the teenage years, which I think is smart. But
yes,
all of that. Who's the right camper?
The right camper is a camper that needs a breath. I would say, just to put it as simply as possible, a kid that maybe is not responding to their parents as much or their peers, or, shuts down. Like we're looking to, really connect with the kids and help them find themselves at the camp. So camp is open, sekintensives.com. You can also email me, info@sekintensives.com. That's on the website as well. For more information, I'm really happy to meet with any parent parent or child that's wanting to understand more, because like Dr. Killebrew said, it's new. And so we want to make sure everybody understands what this camp is. Fun camps are obvious. You're going to go to the lake, you're going to go maybe hiking and sing, all of those things. So we are taking that model and we are adding a curriculum of agriculture lessons, spiritual teachings, and
mental health.
Mental
techniques.
health, yes, mental health. So our main three.
And the mental health is coming from licensed professionals, right?
Correct.
Which I think is important because, I mean, even as a dietitian, sometimes we would work with diabetes camps, and it was making sure that you had the healthcare professionals on site to make sure your kid was getting, licensed and good therapy. So it's not, it's science-based.
Correct. And one of the things that's real important with our camp is sometimes children don't respond from sitting and talking about their problems. So I wanted to bring a camp that has experiential therapy. So we have equine therapy, we have art therapy, we have ropes courses, we have music therapy. There's not just sitting and discussing problems, which often doesn't really work well with kids. It's getting out and doing things and having experiences that help you have a new epiphany.
I like how Sarah said a breath. They just need a breath. So it sounds like Camp Seek's that opportunity. You're not shipping your kids away, but giving them an opportunity to disconnect and detach. And maybe it's not in that traditional form of camp that they would be turned off to. It's more of like a retreat or reset, like a getaway from it. And then wrapped in that, some opportunities to better understand the monkey in the brain.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and that way. And I think that's helpful because you don't want to look at it as you're not sending your kid to like rehab, right?
No.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that would be not rehab, but, like in that way, you don't want the kid to feel like they're being sent away for medical purposes. But it's that break that they need, the pause that could do them all good. What's the age range?
So we're looking at 13 to 17, and we have some 12-year-olds that we want to be in this camp. So if you're listening and you have a 12-year-old, we can definitely talk to you more about if they would, fit well with the camp, if they would really benefit from it. But that's the main age range we're looking for this year.
And Dr. Killebrew, maybe they're not ready for camp, but they recognize that they have that middle-aged tween teen that's struggling, and they don't even know where's the first place to go or what resources sort of for that. What's your best advice just to help parents better help, the stranger that's probably living down the hall?
Yeah, just set an appointment up. I have a practice in Ridgeland. I'd be happy to talk to any parent about their child and how to approach them because, young people, I was a teenager not too long ago, and we just become aliens when we're a teenager, and our parents seem like they're big hairy monsters. And so I'm happy to support any parent that needs just some guidance and someone to bounce thoughts and ideas and strategy off with. I do have a practice. Killebrew Psychological Services is our practice in Ridgeland, and we can provide you with virtual if you're not local.
And Sarah, have been being the right camper, you wish you would have had a camp like this.
Absolutely.
What do you tell to the parent that may have the kid who is struggling for a little bit of hope that maybe, they can learn to cope or deal when given the right tools?
Yeah. Well, I talked to a lot of parents that have kids that were like me, and I just tell them that hopefully one day their kid will thank them, because I thank my mother every day for what she did for me. And I promise you, I was not grateful for her at the time. I was very unkind to her, and I'll never understand what it was like to walk in her shoes. But I can see clearer now what I put her through. And it was a lot, and it was very stressful, and I know that she felt at times that she was alone and that this was a huge hurdle we would never get over. And just grateful that I was given resources, even when I didn't want them. At some point, I did want them, and so I can look back and say, "Wow, I'm lucky."
When it comes to mental health, you can't fix anyone, but you can give them the tools that they can then help to sort of navigate and work through for themselves. Mm-hmm. And so, but you got to have the tools to sort of do it. And so, I encourage anyone, seek out that help that you need. And if you're interested in Camp Seek, again, Sarah, where do we go?
We'll go to seekintensives.com.
All righty. You guys stick with us. We got more for you coming up.